If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I talked about this a few weeks ago because the signs were there when we were seeing all of these factories shut down, hearing about how there's going to be no food supply this summer of meat available. And lo and behold, Bill Gates, of course, at the forefront of it. Just another thing that Gates is at the forefront of, a heavy investor in. He's been out there promoting this along with mandatory, of course, vaccines. He's been promoting this just as much. And of course, tying in the bogusness that is climate change into all of it and talking about how this is a great way to benefit our future. But this is the next agenda that's a part of this, which is huge. And it's something everyone should be concerned about because the plant-based meat is not what you think it is. And now we're seeing a massive rise in supply and demand. So they tell us in plant-based meat, and they tell us that it's safer for people who are concerned about eating meat and possibly catching this virus that's supposedly out there because it starts in animals and then moves to people. And oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We better switch over because Bill Gates and everybody else says so. Take a look for yourself.
That category is a variety of things. When you clear land, you're taking in the carbon that's stored, say, in the trees or plants there, and you're releasing all of that, like burning the land, say, in Indonesia for palm oil plantations. Another thing is that cows and other grass-eating species have a digestion system that emits methane. And methane is a very powerful greenhouse gas. And so cows alone account for about 6% of global emissions. And so we need to change cows, just cows alone.
How are we going to do that?
Well, actually, of all the categories, the one that has gone better than I would have expected 5 years ago is this work to make what's called artificial meat. And so you have people like Impossible or Beyond Meat, both of which I invested in.
You eat it as well, and you like it?
Absolutely.
You do. Okay.
You can go to Burger King and buy the Impossible Burger.
All right. Is it healthier for you or just healthier for the atmosphere?
It's slightly healthier for you in terms of less cholesterol. It's, of course, dramatic reduction in methane emissions, animal cruelty, manure management, and the pressure that meat consumption puts on land use.
Going against Beyond Meat, going against history. And not just because I had an unbelievable cheeseburger last night that they gave me. The reason why there's a guy named Dr. Willett. He's the foremost nutritionist and epidemiologist up at Harvard. Everybody's foremost, I know, in this era. But this guy actually was predicting a pandemic basically because of the food chain. And Beyond Meat is now an ethos. I played a tape about how McDonald's said it's a bit of a hobby. Ethan Brown did not go for that. I think the more important thing is the Starbucks relationship with China. I think they can make a deal with Starbucks. I mean, this is how powerful this concept is. Those who betting against this because it has too much sodium, go check the sausages. They don't. I really believe that what's happening in a lot like Zoom when it comes to staying at home. The Tyson story, which obviously is abysmal, plus a sense that maybe the wet markets are part of the problem with the food chain. It's all going Beyond Meat's way. And what is Beyond Meat doing? They're cutting prices. So the price of meat's going to go up for the regular meat, and the protein that skips the whole meat chapter is going to do well. Beyond Meat is one of the most dangerous shorts in this market.
So not only are they talking about how McDonald's and all these other places which did a trial and error with the estrogen-based soy meat or the Soylent Green meat that they're pushing down everyone's throats. Now they're talking about how it is going to be in huge supply and demand, and that it could even become bigger than Amazon or Facebook. And they're not just talking about the stock, they're talking about the company in general and how it's going to be a mega corporation, a mega company, not just this little, they came up with this soy-based alternative to meat because we don't want to eat meat anymore. We want men to get all that extra estrogen in them and turn them into women, which everybody thinks is a joke because of headlines like this, where people just laugh at it and they go, that's going to make men grow boobs. The effects of men taking estrogen are no different than men who take estrogen to try and become women. What do you think these trans people do? Women who try to become men get injected with testosterone. Men who try to become women get injected with large amounts of estrogen. And what is inside of these burgers? Large amounts of estrogen. And what would that do to the consumer, who mainly meat-eating consumers? I'm not saying all are men, but men are the demographic, the main demographic, to eat meat, to eat burgers and eat steak. And yes, I get it, women eat it too. But demographic-wise, it's a larger percent of men. So what can they do? Well, they can focus on dumping all this estrogen into men and making men more feminine, which they're already doing. But when they have headlines like this, everybody sees it and they laugh and they go, oh, these conspiracy nuts are at it again. Viral claims out there saying that men might grow boobies. Ha 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 ha. Like it's real funny. Meanwhile, these people don't have the slightest clue of what is in the Impossible Foods and Beyond Meat. And as you see, a spike in demand as meat is becoming scarce, real meat, animal meat, and meat supply is becoming scarce. There is a massive spike in demand for this, and more people are buying it. So it works out perfectly. While Bill Gates, we're all thinking about what is most important. Obviously, nothing is more important than being aware of the potential of the mark of the beast and making sure you don't take it and making sure you don't put this vaccine in you. But at the same time, look how Gates is also working in the whole plant-based agenda as well. This guy is as evil as they come. They're saying the shortage of beef and pork is going to be a massive plus for plant-based meat. And the evidence is vivid. On Tuesday, after Beyond Meat reported quarter results that blew past Wall Street estimates, a 141% jump in first quarter revenue and profit. And yes, that stuff's all irrelevant because the stocks in general are all manipulated. It's all bogus crap anyway. But they're saying the case in point here is that Impossible Foods and these alternative plant-based meats are going to be the new wave. And there's going to be retail expansion, and Starbucks and McDonald's and Burger King are going to start featuring it as their main meat, because they're going to continue to say, amid all of this, even if things slightly go back to normal, which they're never going to, but they start opening more places. And as we speak, McDonald's is open and Burger King is open, right? And what do we hear? Meat supply down, meat supply down. McDonald's already reporting that they're not getting the same amount of meat that they normally get because there's such a low supply that all the McDonald's franchises are literally going through their statistics and their databases to get the minimum amount needed. In other words, if they sold 2 million burgers last month, get 2 million burgers for this month, but don't go above that, right? And that's just their way of saying, look, we're going to switch. We're going to continue to get people prepared for this. Because even in the summer, when all this stuff, they start to pretend like things are normal because they'll let you go to the beach and they'll let you go back to the movies, even though you won't be able to sit near people. People will suddenly start looking and going, well, wait a minute, but what about the meat thing? Oh, well, that's not going to go back to normal because, one, it's bad for the climate change issue, as all of our scientists like Bill Gates tell us, and two, it's dangerous for the outbreak to come back because we find that it starts in cattle, it starts in cows, it starts in pigs. So pork products and beef products are extremely dangerous. So you should give it a try. See? Doesn't it taste similar? Even though you don't even know what you're putting in your body? And I get it. The burgers that they sell at McDonald's and Burger King aren't real burgers anyway. We all get it. We don't know what are in those freaking things. They're disgusting. They're like Frisbees. But the point being, you're going to go to the grocery store and you're still going to see a lack of meat supplies. You're going to see a lack of chicken, right? I've talked about the Beyond Meat. They've moved on, KFC selling the fake plant-based meat. Every one of these places, this is going to be the new wave brought on, again, from this outbreak. Look at all the agendas this outbreak is hitting. From the mark to the cashless society to social distancing 1984. I mean, the list goes on and on to people self-imprisoning themselves and pretty much quarantining themselves to live in a prison-like atmosphere, which is their home, which is completely monitored by the NSA because every device in your home is recording you anyway. So you might as well be in a prison cell. So making it mandatory for people to go outside. You have to wear a mask. If you want to go to the grocery store, you have to wear a mask. Here go your rights. Here go your relationships with other humans because we're going to make it harder and harder for you to interact without using technology. And there's that word again because man will become one with the tech world. But for now, let's keep our focus on all the nonsense so people can get back at it because they want to get to the movie theater. So they'll take the vax and they'll start shoving plant-based meat down their throat because that's what Big Brother's going to tell them to do because they're going to say, look, Tyson's going under. All these meat supply places are going under. And even if they're not, there's still a danger that you can get sick from eating it. So don't eat it. And everyone will go, okay. This is the new world order, folks. It's all around us 24/7. And every agenda imaginable is coming out of this outbreak. Everything you could imagine, including this. Some people might laugh and they'd say, of all the stuff, it's not the most important thing. Everything needs to be noted. Everything. Not just the vax, everything. Because they're taking away rights. They're forcing this. They're going to force this into people's diets, this estrogen-based soy diet that it's pretty much going to be featured at men. And they're going to go, look, you can't tell the difference between steak and it's better for you. Have doctors come on TV and tell you how it's better for you and you'll live longer and feel better. And all the zombies will fall in place and do what they're told because that's what they do, like good socially engineered puppets. Welcome to the NWO. I thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families.